Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the Diz Unplugged, coming to you live from the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida. I'm your host, Pete Werner, joined in the studio this week by my good friends, Teresa Eccles.
Hey.
Okay.
Did you show John?
Denny Sunderly.
Hi there.
John Magi.
Hi, everybody.
Kevin Close.
Hey.
And our producer, Craig Williams. So, that's right, you don't have a camera, do you?
No.
Yeah. I like that.
You like it when it doesn't have a camera?
I do.
We should have a little sketch of you, maybe as a little stick figure,
Right,
and
let me
hold
draw
it
a
up
picture
while
real
you're...
quick, and we'll hold it up every time he talks.
So,
Every time he talks, I'll hold this up.
That's perfect.
I'm Craig Williams.
Looks just like him.
wow.
Craig Williams.
Wow, this got very ugly very fast.
And I can't defend myself.
I know. That's what's great about it.
I'm Craig Williams. That's funny.
So, okay. Not a whole lot to talk about.
No,
Nothing
it's
is
been
going
boring.
on.
Yeah, other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the play?
Really. I have to say something off the top.
That's too soon.
I am tired of learning new stuff. I am just tired of it.
Okay, does anybody else feel like they needed a PhD to figure out the annual passes?
Annual
my
passes and
gosh.
Genie Plus, and everything else that's coming out. It's like, I'm done. I don't want to learn anything new.
I've spent the last day and a half now kind of going through it and looking back at old pricing. And because I'll be honest, my gut response when I saw the pricing, I'm like, oh, okay, that's not terrible. But
And then you delved into it.
then you delve into it,
Yes.
and everybody's been like, oh, we're waiting for a Pete rant today, we're waiting for a Pete rant, and like this was like right after the announcement, and I'm like, I don't know if you're gonna get a rant, and I still don't know if you're gonna get a rant, but my feelings on the annual passes have changed a little bit, and I do have some things that I want to say, and I do want to talk about Genie Plus. I haven't been here for a few weeks, so there are some things I've missed that I want to weigh in on. But they all kind of they all kind of fall into one basic category. If it seems as though Disney is trying to price you out of going to Disney World, then you are correct. And what kills me is I've been telling you they were going to do this for about a year now. I've been saying constantly the only way for them to control crowds, the number one complaint they get in guest feedback is it's too crowded, too crowded, too crowded. The only way for them to change that is a park reservation system and annual passes that come with a mortgage application. That was the only way it's going to happen. So why everyone is so shocked, why everyone, or many people at least, excuse me, seem to think that Disney is not aware of the impact that this is going to have and that they're going to be sorry for this. No, they're not. This is not by accident. This is by design. That is exactly what they are going for. I'm not saying it doesn't suck. It does. And I'm going to say something else. And I say this as somebody who owns a travel agency that specializes in Disney vacations. They better start adding some stuff to the offerings that they're charging for. Because even for me, this is getting to a point where I'm saying, is it even worth it? Is it even worth it? That being said, mainly because of what I do for a living, I am going to be buying an annual pass. I am going to renew. I'm going to get the Incredipass, whatever the hell they're calling these things. But if I didn't do this for a living, I really can't give you an answer if I would spend this. I really can't. When you add on to this that Disney Genie is coming, which is effectively Max Pass from Disneyland, adjusted, which when I first experienced Max Pass out in Disneyland, I said it on shows. We should do that here. I gladly spend the $15 a day or whatever it was to not have to get a fast pass 7 years in advance. So by itself, Genie Plus, whatever the hell they're calling it, by itself, okay, I can get on board with it to a degree. I can get on board with it. But now we're seeing this. Now we're seeing the annual passes going up, things coming, perks coming off of them. DVC members were a special kind of screwed with these APs. Notice that virtually everything is available to Florida, or everything is available to Florida residents. Those 3 ghosts in the middle of the night they've been visiting for the last 18 months made them realize that, hey, you know what? If another global pandemic hits, the only way we're getting people into our parks is if they're Florida residents. But you're going to tell somebody that lives in Ohio, if you want an annual pass, if you're a DVC member, you have to now pay $900 for your annual pass for every member of your party. If you're not a DVC member and you live in Ohio and you come down here twice a year, you're now going to have to spend $1,300 for an annual pass? This is a boon for Universal. Everything Disney has done with annual passes since they first closed down has been a boon for Universal. Universal, they're popping champagne right now. Universal is that guy that was really interested in you and you paid no attention to, but now that you've gained 50 pounds and are single, he's starting to look good. That's Universal right now. And people are they're
Yeah, but that guy also got Harry Potter hair plugs. So, he got,
he did some work.
He worked on himself a little bit.
He had work.
He got
work
caps.
done.
He got Harry Potter hair plugs.
But, we started seeing this in October of last year. We started noticing that just from the Dreams Unlimited standpoint, the Universal numbers started getting interesting. And at first, the first time I looked at them, I called John. I'm like, well, I think we have an error in this report. He's like, nope. And that has just continued. And I'm seeing a lot of people, or just, anecdotally on social media, a lot of people saying, you know what, maybe it is time to look at Universal. And you know what, you're going to find out Universal has a great product. Universal has a phenomenal product. Their hotels, their theme parks, they're different. Their theme parks are different. There's some great dining. It's not Disney, but that's what's attractive about it. Especially when you look at when you compare their annual passes to Disney, it's not Disney, and that's a good thing.
There's also a sort of silent increase that we've really not talked about, in that resorts have been going up steadily. 2022 resort prices have gone up 15 to 20% on average. So, that's not something people can look at and see and go, oh, wow, this is an increase, because you don't see it until you price your vacation. But that's an added expense to all of this. I think the top pass here, if I'm not mistaken, isn't that the same price as last time they offered it?
It's the Platinum Pass. The Platinum Pass was $12.95. This is $12.99.
And basically the same options, right?
But you could get a Platinum Plus Pass as a Florida resident or DVC member at $9.99. That is not an option now. That is not an option now. So
And that came with water parks, right?
that was the Platinum Plus that came
Yes.
with.
With Photopass and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to do is that's kind of, to me, because we don't go to the water parks and we don't use the Photopass, but that kind of stuff seems to be equal. It's when you get into these lower passes where you see the biggest change. The number of days in park significantly less. The number of blackout days increase a lot when you compare price to price. And
Yeah, I mean,
no
like
parking
some of these-
and things like that on some of these. So
There's no parking? I thought there was parking with these.
Parking's for all of them.
Yeah,
For all
parking
of them,
has
right.
all
Sorry
of them.
about
Yeah. Don't scare me.
don't scare people.
The blockout dates on some of these passes. What the hell's the point of having one? You know, you can go every third Tuesday unless it's a full moon. I mean,
Or summer, or a holiday.
yeah. I mean, it's
See, when your kids are off at school, you can't go.
You can't
That's
go.
basically
Or the date is an odd number.
Yeah. I know that because Jen, who works at the office, she's always had an annual pass, but they always take the low tier because she's a family of 5, but she can't go in summer. You can't go after May 15th, so.
and here's the thing. The other thing I feel the need to say. Everybody's blaming Chapek. And I'm not saying Chapek is without fault. But you know what? Josh D'Amaro is president of Parks and Resorts, and this is happening on his watch. He's responsible for this as well. And while I understand exactly what they're going for, I think it is tone deaf on an incomprehensible level. You could not go any further in telling your most loyal fans to F off. Shy of putting it on the Disney World homepage. I don't think you could go any further than to say, you know what, thanks for everything, but we're going to go be over here now. There's any number of things that could have been done. See, like, and for me, the Photopass, that was just the old Italian. That's all that was. There was no need for that. Photopass does not cost them money. Okay? It doesn't cost them money. These are digital, for God's sakes. It's not like they're handing you free prints and frames. You still got to pay for those if you want them. If you want Photopass, then get our new Genie Plus. Maybe a little bit of a rant.
So what they did was they made
They've enhanced signals and other edits.
What they've done is they've made Photopass appealing. People like it. It's a great thing. People use it all the time. So now that we've made it popular and people love it, now we're going to charge for it. We're going to charge extra for it. I'm not taking the other side at all. You're absolutely right. This is ridiculous. Price increases are ridiculous. The whole Genie Plus thing, we have no idea even if it's going to work before they're asking for money for it. But the proof is in the pudding when people are still going to come. When people are still going to show up and the parks are still going to be full and things are going to be crazy. That was Teresa walking in front of my shot.
Sorry.
Thank you very much. Like 4 minutes on the
Teresa
entire
forgets
show.
that we're doing a live show
I
with
went that way.
cameras.
You were
Teresa went
on.
walkabout.
She did.
Sorry.
But until people stop going and stop buying passes and stop doing all that stuff, they're going to keep increasing it. And they're going to keep doing it and doing it and doing it because they're going to... Listen,
Well-
it's a business. They're going to make as much money as they can.
That's the other part. The other point I have in front of me. We have trained them to do this.
Exactly.
We have trained them to do this because they know. They know. We're going to yell and scream and rant and rave, and then here's my credit card.
Right.
Okay, so as long as we're going to do that, then this is what's going to happen. And we can bitch about it. It's fine. Not going to do anything.
People ranted and raved. They're never going back to Disney again when they took out Mr. Toad. And
How'd that work out?
yeah, and there's like a timeline. Anytime a change is made, I'm never going back.
I will say this though. This time, I mean, we've been covering these changes for how many years now?
25.
Well, 24 on the
Since
disc, but in terms of the
2006.
show, what are we, 16? 16 years? We've been doing this? This is a lot.
I used to work in a small grocery store in upstate New York. And one of the things we sold, it was like a 7-Eleven. If you're in upstate New York, I worked at a Stewart's. And one of the things was we sold cigarettes. And every time a pack of cigarettes increased in price, I would hear the same people say the same things. That's it, I'm quitting. I'm not paying
When it
this
reaches
anymore.
$1 a pack.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
What
that's
it-
kind of where I was, okay?
Just dated yourself there on that.
Exactly.
But it was always the same story. I'm not going to spend this. I'm not going to buy it. Okay, don't. And
Yeah.
no one ever stopped.
That's a great analogy because Disney for many people is an addiction. For many people, people will forego other things in their lives to make a Disney vacation happen. And I think that's a good analogy.
It's harder and harder
Yeah.
when you have a family and you know, your older kids are getting the experience that the younger kids now are not going to get, or your grandkids are not going to get because you can't afford to go, or there's so many cutbacks you can't afford to, you know,
I
do
feel very
everything.
lucky to have the memories I have. Because when you bought a Disney, I mean, in the early days, you bought a booklet and you had tickets. I hated them. My e-tickets were always gone. But once it was, you just pay one price, I ran the parks whenever I got a chance. I was running the parks, and I'm very happy to have those memories. Because something that bothers me right now is the ability to not be spontaneous. I have to decide what I want to eat at 9 o'clock so they can tell me I can have it at 2:30. I think to myself,
They've already taken out a whole population of people doing that. The first time I went to Disney, it was spontaneous, and it shouldn't have been because I didn't know what I was doing. And we walked around and watched other people do lots of cool, fun things, and we just walked up and down looking for some place to take us in to eat. Please, can we eat here? You
but I mean, I don't even mind the park
horrible.
reservation
Sir, can I have
because I'm not going Christmas Day or New Year's Eve, so I'm not having trouble finding a park pass, even on day of. But that whole thing about you can't have a hot dog unless you knew 6 hours
Mobile
ago.
ordering is something that we do not care for.
It
Does not fit the
that's
way we
even
want
it's
to
not
travel.
even strong enough. I hate it.
When I had left the room for my little walkabout, did y'all talk about what was that? I don't
We
know.
talked about you.
Did you? Awesome. So much to talk about there. Florida residents, we get the option of pay monthly.
Right.
Right.
Why can't they give that to everyone? Because honestly, I don't think I could do it if I didn't have that option.
Because I think what happens is with someone who doesn't live here, there's more of a chance where they're going to say, okay, let's buy it and go for a month and then stop paying because I don't want it the rest of the year. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to give you my $99
Yeah,
for July,
I guess.
but I'm not coming back the rest of the year. So guess what? I got my trip for $99. So that's more of a
You've
worry.
given away my secret.
Right? That's
Giving away what you're telling people.
you mean I could do that?
Really?
But another thing that the passes, this whole restructuring being only for annual Florida residents, right? 3 of them, is that a lot of times if you lived out of state, very dear friend of mine did this back in the day. She got an annual pass. She lives in Maryland, but the discounts that annual pass holders could take advantage of were massive, and sometimes even better than another discount that you could get another way. And so they'd buy one annual pass
Right.
for one member and then be able to book under that one annual pass. This precludes people from being able to do that because now it's no longer cost effective because they have to get the Incredipass at $1,300 a year. And here's another thing with Photopass. I love Photopass. I take advantage of Photopass. And Pete, I hear what you're saying, that it doesn't take much to send that, push those photos to my Disney
all
experience.
digital.
There are cast members that they have to pay to be in that department, though. So I'm wondering if they're looking at it as a cost-cutting thing because less people will tack on that $99 add-on. I just don't know.
A fun fact. those same cast members will take your camera and take your picture. So
Yes.
just start doing that.
Yes.
Will they still do that?
Yeah.
Yep,
I didn't
they're
know
back
if they
to doing that
Okay,
now.
they're back to doing
Yeah.
that. Okay, good.
Yeah.
So one thing I'd like to say about annual passes and stuff, we used to tell people that if you're coming on a Disney vacation and you're going to spend 10 days or more in a Disney park, that the annual pass was worth it. The new math that I've done, which by no means is scientific, I think 12 to 14 days now. So you're better off buying your multi-day ticket if you're going to be here up to 14 days than you are buying an annual pass.
Well, for a lot of annual pass holders, it's multiple trips in a
Right.
year. So
But even
if you're
taking that
going
into
to
consideration
if
for
you're
the
going to
next-
do 14 days in the parks,
Yeah.
12 to 14 days in the parks, then the annual pass makes sense. If you're not, then it doesn't. But somebody pointed out on Facebook, and I haven't verified this, but it sounds right. For less than what you're going to pay for an Incredipass, you can get an annual to Universal and SeaWorld, both of which give far more benefits than what Disney is offering here. Now, they are talking about 20% off dining, which I'm guessing is going to be a nod towards Tables in Wonderland.
Yeah.
Now, if it's going to be the same restaurants that Tables in Wonderland covered, that could be a factor. That could be a factor. If it's basically going to be a fair replacement for Tables in Wonderland, but I don't think it's going to be. I think you're going to get 20% off your hot dog, maybe. Or you're going to get 20% off, I don't know, Tony's Town Square. Here, have some crappy pasta that we're going to overcharge you for in the first place, but we're going to give you 20% off because I won't say what I was going to say.
We've always gotten a discount on dining. It'll be great to see, like you just said, on your hot dog. I would love to see that extended to some quick service locations. That
Yeah.
would be amazing. I would, and it says up to 20%. So how many at 20% are we
Yeah.
going to actually see?
Oh, your discount on this is 0.25%. That's up to 20%. Yeah, like I said, this is a fantastic middle finger to loyal fans.
But do you think, you said it might push people over to Universal and SeaWorld and all.
I think it should.
It should, but if your heart and your love is Disney, you're not going to find
How many SeaWorld t-shirts do you need?
Mickey Mouse over there.
Well, not only that, but like I said, it's there are people who are addicted to the Disney vacation. There's not Galaxy's Edge
Okay.
at these other parks.
Okay.
There's not those experiences.
I was addicted to alcohol and Vicodin, and I found other things to do.
Shaw.
So, I'm just being honest. And we've said it for many, many years that there's a lot going on in Orlando. There's a lot to experience. I got my SeaWorld annual pass a few months back. I haven't been to SeaWorld in ages. And I'm walking around going, I forgot what a great park this is. And don't you blackfish tree-hugging hippies, shut up.
You were talking to Craig. I'm like,
I don't want to, because every time I talk about SeaWorld, blackfish, shut up.
We keep a killer whale in our pool. Shut up.
Exactly.
I model myself after a killer whale. So, and Universal, go stay at Portofino, Hard Rock, or Royal Pacific.
love Portofino.
Yep.
And take a look at the price point, first of all, the level of service, second of all,
And you can bring your dog.
and you can bring your dog.
Can you bring Mickey Mouse?
Sure.
See, that's the thing. I'm trying to put myself into the shoes of a local or of someone who is planning a vacation to come down here, or several of them, and so is considering an annual pass. I, for years, bought my own annual pass after we moved down here because it was my thing. That was my jam. It still is. My happy place, if I had a rough day at work, man, I was in Epcot that evening. Like, it was very important to me. And so when I look at this and go, okay, $99 a month. Right now, mine is $67.81 a month. Because
same
I was
one.
able, I
We
was
have the
able to
same one.
renew, and so you get a little bit of a cost, just a little discount. And there'll be a little discount for those who are renewing this time. But I would, when push would come to shove, if I was not a member of the DIS, I would still be getting my annual pass. It would be hard, and we would have to have a conversation about it, my husband and I. But ultimately, I mean, we're a little different because we moved down here for it, but ultimately I am a Disney fan at heart, and daggone it, that is my happy place. And yes, I think this makes it such a bitter pill to swallow because it comes hot on the heels of everything else that we have been dealing with.
And that's a big part of this.
There's a lot of emotions. I mean, Disney is a company, and we are being reminded that they are a company. This is, again, just a little poster that they say, hey, remember, we're a company. But so much of our emotions, our vacations, everything are just wrapped up into those 4 parks. And when it comes hot on the heels of, deluxe guests only are going to be able to be in Magic Kingdom and Epcot after hours, and you take away. It started with live entertainment being taken away, and it's just been this little cascading since then, and it's just really hard to swallow. Thank you.
And-
Thank you.
And look, I've said it many times. Disney's not running a halfway house. No. They're a company. Their job, their number one priority, is to make money.
And this will keep happening until they stop.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying the number one job is to make money for their shareholders. That's their fiduciary
won't
responsibility.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We're gonna keep having this conversation until Disney feels some sort of effect from it.
Well, let's look at what I mean. Are you done?
No,
I don't want to
I
interrupt
wasn't.
you. I apologize. One of the things, but let me just. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, are you done?
Their number one responsibility is to make money for their shareholders. However, it is possible to do that without being so craven and dismissive of your core audience. A lot of these decisions tell me they have no earthly idea what the experience is on the ground in these parks, nor do they care. They don't care. How much money can we get out of them? And again, as a business, I get it. But
You don't think they know?
history is no. Do they understand the guest experience on the ground? Of course they don't. Everything's analytics. You can't understand emotion through
The
analytics.
family trying to figure out how they're going to give everybody a
understand-
meal and all that.
You cannot understand emotion through analytics. But they need to be students of history. Remember when AT&T was the only game in town? Remember when IBM was the only place you could buy a computer from? That's in our lifetime. And when the tide turned on those companies, it didn't happen over an extended period of time. It was very, very quick. It was very, very quick.
I tell the story. I'm sorry.
You've got Universal up the street, who is, by the way, building another theme park as we speak. So there's an opportunity, and I'll tell you, Universal has been particularly brilliant with how they have handled themselves through the pandemic in terms of their marketing, in terms of a number of different things. There is such a massive opportunity for Universal right now. I'd be very interested to see what they're going to do. What were you going to say, Kevin?
I've told this story before, and it fits
Okay,
here
well,
too.
we don't need to hear it again. Okay.
Reference back.
I used to be a pin trader, and they would have pin events where you paid $100, $200 to go to these events. You were allowed to get special merchandise. And we talked to an executive who basically told us that we weren't important. We were not the driving force behind the pin selling. We spend far less as a group of pin traders who were devoted to this, devout pin trading, paid to go to events, showed up in the parks every day. We were far less important than the average tourist who walked through and bought a couple of pins, who didn't trade, who didn't want to go to an event, that we were not the important part. I've heard the same story about ABD. ABD is a very, very, very small part of Disney. And while they want us to be happy, it's not the most important part. And the same thing is happening here. You're talking about the devout Disney fan. Disney doesn't see them as the most important thing. They want the day tripper who's going to drop their entire vacation wad and not come back for 3 years.
And that's why Universal is in a position to, I want to say hurt, because I'm not looking for that per se, but Universal's in a position to do something that would hurt Disney. If they start attracting more and more people, they start attracting those day trippers. I've been seeing it a lot lately, the people doing the split stays.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
DVC members, booking at their home resort for a week, but maybe 2 or 3 days in the Disney parks and the other 2 or 3 days up the road in Universal. That, it's not going to be people not buying annual passes per se. It's going to be people only doing 2 or 3 days in the parks, in the Disney parks, because they're doing 2 or 3 now up at Universal. And I'll tell you, Universal's hanging out, showing leg on I-4 right now, trying to get you in there.
Oh, they're hopping.
They are doing really well. There's a lot of business going to Universal. Yep. And I'll be honest with you. I love Disney. Of course I love Disney. But I got to be honest. When I see the numbers for Universal, I'm like,
one of the things that Disney has done in the past, and they'll continue to do in the future, is they will react, right? But what frustrates me is they're not proactive. So there was this big push for a while where people were staying off property and doing things off property. So guess what? Now we had Magical Express. Magic Express took you from the airport to your resort at Disney, so now you're locked in the Disney bubble. People were getting less cars, less services. Well, now that's going away. Mm-hmm. So what's going to happen is, for now, they'll be okay with it because of the amount of people going and the amount of money being spent. But once they see, oh no, people are going to Universal again, you're going to see a turnaround.
Going off property to eat.
Going off property to eat. You're going to see a turnaround.
And do you remember how when they pulled Magical Express, the phone calls we were getting from Disney going, well, why are people so upset? Yeah. Why are people so upset? So when I say they're out of touch, they're out of touch.
Here's the other thing, too.
But then they turn around and they pull Memory Maker. Then they turn around and pull that. And I'll guarantee you, there's somebody somewhere in some tower going, why are they so upset about Memory Maker?
The next big surprise is going to be Genie and Genie Plus and this individual reservation system. I've been in meetings. They think this is the best thing they've ever done. I don't understand. Why don't you think people will love this? Why don't you think they're going to buy it in advance and add it to every vacation they ever take?
Because they can't afford it.
Because, first of all, there's very little information about specifics. You don't know what rides are involved or not involved. We don't know the price of the individual park ride reservation. And lastly, it's because now you're doing another thing where what someone got for free, they have to pay for.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Well, we don't understand. Why do you think it's going to be? You're so negative. I'm telling you the truth. This is what I think is going to happen in the fan community.
This is what happens when they make these decisions. They're in their bubble, and they're just bouncing off each other, right? Oh, this is going to be great. This is going to be great. Then they release it. And look, we work with these people. These are lovely people. These are I'm not kidding. I'm not being sarcastic. These are wonderful people. And I've yelled at them about this. Some of them are watching right now. They're laughing knowingly because I've had this conversation with people. Run this shit by us before you do it. We could have told you what was going to happen with Magical Express. Did I just say? Yeah, I did.
Yes.
Ooh, you did.
I did.
And it wasn't you.
Awesome.
I've been dropping them lately a lot. Really getting crusty. Wait for the Patreon after show. Which, by the way, after this, if you're a Patreon supporter, we'll do our Patreon feed, and that's where there's no filter. Patreon.com/DizUnplugged is how you join. It's available to people at all tiers.
It's like a day at my
I
house.
did absolutely no promo for anything.
Didn't tell me anything. You were
I was
so worked up.
so ready, so ready to talk about this stuff. But we tell them, run it by us. We can give you we'll give you a heads up that this is a bad idea. It's a bad idea. And pulling Memory Maker, that was just mean. Okay? That's the word I'm looking for. It was mean. You're not going to make a business case to me. You're not going to make a business case to me why that charge was necessary. Not when you're doing this with annual passes. Not when you're raising the price on everything else. Not when you're cutting back on so many other things. This, and I don't use Memory Maker, okay? I got no horse in that particular race. But that was mean. That was mean, and it needs to be added back to the damn annual passes. Enough is enough. Step back. I realize they have a tough job. They've lost $10 billion in the last 18 months. Money that none of us can comprehend. So I get that, and I get the need to earn that back. But there's a way to do it.
This answer to the money they lost is filling an ocean with a bucket. You're not going to get $10 billion back by making
Memory Maker.
on Memory Maker or these passes or anything like that.
Well, these pass prices keep going up. They might.
I think
It's gone. You can't get that
facetious.
back.
you can't get
And
that.
You can't-
The hard part is that there's a lot of people who are in a situation where their rent is due or their mortgage is due and aren't making those. So there's still that to cover. And I think you're just pushing these people outside the fence.
And the last time I do want to bring this up. The last time I talked about how much Disney's lost, and that the need to do some of these things is because of the business reality. Someone asked me, what's the cost to them of the loss in goodwill that they're getting from the people that effectively put them where they are? Okay, let's be honest. Let's be honest. This community, the community of Disney fans, we're the ones people come to when they want to plan a vacation. Okay? We're the ones they come to. We're the ones they talk to. The stuff we post on the internet, and I'm not just talking about me, I'm talking about everybody. Stuff we post on the internet has more influence. So when we talk about how wonderful this is, or how great this new attraction is, or how much we love doing this, it has a voice. It has legs.
I think the problem is the goodwill hasn't equated. The loss of goodwill hasn't equated to financial loss from Disney yet because resorts are full. Look at the rest of this year. The resorts are full. It's really hard to get anything.
Yeah.
To book anything. So I can see where someone would say, well, who cares? Who cares? It doesn't seem to be impacting people. They're still coming. They're still spending money. So let's try this thing. And if they buy
I can't
it,
sell it to you, I'll sell it to somebody else.
They're coming because they've had such a hard time these past 18 months, and they want to get to their happy place. They want to get there, and you can only get there so long on YouTube or whatever. That just fuels it and wants you to go.
You have to ask the question. Let's talk about the non-crazy people like us. Let's talk about normal people. Well, let's say get Disney World, where that family may have, in years past, and you may have very well been that family, where we'll take the kids to Disney World, and then you go and you have this amazing experience, and it's incredible, and now all of a sudden you're hooked. What happens when the cost is so astronomical that it doesn't become a once a year, it can't become a once a year thing. It's a once in a lifetime thing.
Have DVC prices gone down?
Have DVC prices gone down?
Have DVC numbers gone down?
I don't know off the top of my head. I mean, in terms of sale prices, no. Everything, resale and direct, the
I'm
numbers
thinking to myself, then again, like I told you, I was told that we weren't important. If DVC sales are steady or going up, Disney doesn't see that once in a lifetime family as important.
There's no doubt that the DVC community is much more important for the repeat.
Well, I'll tell
business.
you what. You could knock me over with a feather with that statement.
Really?
Because
I think
the
there's-
ass clown that's running DVC into the ground, Terry Schultz, they have handled this entire pandemic.
Just
him
when
a
I think
name.
Pete can't surprise me with saying something.
Well, I mean, watch the DV.
That's Terry Schultz.
That's Terry Schultz.
I prefer Ms.
Ass
Ass Clown. to you.
lady
Mr.
ass
Lady
clown.
ass clown.
Okay, that's her name now. But I mean, I'm sure she's a very nice person. But the indifference and disregard with which DVC members have been treated, they were already pissed off. This is not going to help. That there's only one pass available to them. It's $900 now, where they had other options before this. Now the only option for DVC is a Sorcerer Pass, if I'm not mistaken. $899. So, and again, that's just Disney's way of saying, we haven't soaked quite enough money out of you yet. Even
So
though you've purchased a deeded real estate interest with us.
So the only pass they can buy will have blackout dates.
It's the Sorcerer Pass, and that's
That's
blackout
incredible.
dates, right?
That's just
Yeah.
that's just incredible to me, because you would think the DVC member is
Well-
the one who's going to come.
Well, they can buy the other. They just
If
If you go
can't
to the
do it
DVC fan
through
face,
DVC.
if you go to the DVC fan Facebook group, you got a lot of people on there asking the question: should I even keep my membership?
I'm
And
not
I
t-
think a lot of people are saying, "Yeah, I'm keeping my membership," but
When I talk about the DVC community as far as the overall Disney business plan, I'm not talking about how Disney feels about them. I'm talking about how it feels about the money it gets. That these are constantly selling, and they're selling out, and they're building new ones all the time. This is a cash cow for them. That for some reason doesn't seem to be ending, because I'm shocked at how much it is per point now.
see, and I don't think making smart, effective business decisions is mutually exclusive to basic humanity. I don't think those two things have to be mutually exclusive. Memory Maker being taken away, that was just mean. That was just mean. That was just overly greedy. And then you can't wonder why the internet hates you. If you're gonna do stuff like that, you cannot wonder why. You cannot wonder why.
We could extrapolate this to the cost of
And I
prescription
wasn't
drugs, too.
I wasn't gonna rant today.
Prescription drugs just keep going up and
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
The difference is people need prescription drugs.
Right.
And I don't know.
Well, the price of everything, your banana, your cigarette, whatever, is almost to the point. I mean, you have to make choices. If you don't have unlimited funds, you have to make choices. And
And my choices are bananas or cigarettes.
bananas or cigarettes. Bananas are
Disney.
cheaper now. No, but I'm just saying.
Now we know what Teresa goes shopping
I've
for.
got clients that the whole family used to come every year. And now it's grandma and grandpa pick one grandchild, and that child gets to come this year. Next year, someone else gets to come with grandma and grandpa instead of everybody.
Or grandma and grandpa just pick their favorite grandchild.
Well, it's got to be a different one every year, But you've had to make those choices, and I just think that's so sad. But I just think that's
Well,
the
they
way
can do
it
like their
is.
Grandchild of the Year awards, like
Right.
the Oscars,
Right?
where they
Make them like Hunger Games, fight for
I
it.
think so too. Yeah, I
Right.
think it should be feats of strength is what I like to call it.
Gladiator Coliseum kind of stuff.
But what happens is even further than that. People are making decisions. Can I afford a deluxe? Maybe not. Now I have to go to a
Right.
moderate. Now I have to go to a value.
Yeah.
Can we stay a week or is it 5 days? Everyone is making those tough decisions when it comes, except for a very small pot.
Right.
Because you know what, we're gonna be honest about everything. We have a very small pot of clients who seem to have a great deal of funds, and we love them. We love you. But that is I don't want to
you
scare them
wanna-
away.
But don't
you want
say
us
we
to
don't
rub your
love
back?
the All Stars people too,
No, we
because
love
we
them.
love
do.
them all.
But
Love them
Off
all.
Broadway.
Right.
All my children, I love all my children equally.
This is the Joan Crawford Christmas special, by the way.
you all equally. But again, there is a subset of the Disney fandom that does have a large amount of spending money.
Right.
So Disney, I think, feeds to that, and they feed to the once every couple of years now. Now, there used to be a campaign that was come every year. First in a lifetime vacations is how they promoted it.
Grandparents, show your kids what you loved.
Right, exactly. Multi-generational, but I don't
But
know
they can't
that
show them that anymore because it's not there.
One at a time they can.
One at a time. Let's just say it all together. Say it with me, Christopher. Merry Christmas to all. To all. You're gonna go with Joan. I just
Look,
it took you a minute.
Took a minute.
I got it right away.
I know. I could see it. He got it. You're a little slow.
So, all right, well, let's bring the gay in.
Hey.
You're the one who started it with your holiday card.
So, that's what I think.
And that's another thing too. At one point, it's only going to be the gays who can afford it.
Right.
It's only going to be us with no kids and
Yes.
right.
The what?
The dinks.
Oh, I thought you said something.
I thought he said something
I
else.
thought, whoa.
I'm
Double
like,
income, no kids.
Double income, no kid.
I thought you were
I
talking
didn't
about a
make this up.
detective.
No, I didn't make this
Yeah,
up.
no, I thought he said something else too. Like,
Too.
You didn't make it up. I know.
It's
So.
true. But it just breaks my heart when clients that used to come every year and the whole family now, it's just trickling down, some of them. And like you said, there's a lot that it hasn't deterred them at all.
Yeah.
But then they're looking for discounts. They're looking for a way to make it cheaper. And,
it's going to get increasingly more difficult.
you got to
do.
work harder at it.
I know some people have asked along the lines there, Pete. What, in terms of like Genie Plus, do you find the idea of Genie Plus offensive or individual attraction selections? Is there any part of that that's like...
Well, look, Genie Plus is effectively a bastardized version of MaxPass in a lot of ways. And I loved MaxPass. This has the potential. If we're talking if we're talking $15 a day, $20 a day, and but if
Per
we're gonna,
person.
per person, well,
I
that's
thought
what
it was per
MaxPass
attraction.
was.
No.
No, that's
Right.
Disneyland Paris.
Well, that's
No,
also...
that's-
You can have individual attraction
Right.
selections.
Which we don't know how much
The
they're
incredible
gonna be.
thing,
Right.
the
We don't know what
incredible
they're gonna be.
version, right? Yeah, where you go.
Right.
Yeah,
There is a thing where you can pay per attraction, right?
Yes.
This is in
Okay.
Paris.
that's Disneyland Paris.
She's saying something.
No, it's
No,
here
it's
too.
here as well.
It's here too.
Oh, they're going to do that
Yep,
with the Genie
individual,
Plus.
individual attraction selections
Genie
on
Plus
top of
will,
Genie Plus.
Genie Plus will only be certain attractions.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
and then
That's right.
the better attractions,
The
the ones
top
you want to
tier.
go
The
The
on,
one you want to
Yes.
go on.
will be you pay
Yeah.
per individual
Yes.
fast pass for those.
No, my.
The problem
So much
I
math.
have is there's no proof of concept, right, for Disney World. With all the visitors and all the people, can it really support a system like that? Because at least in the past it was you picked your attractions in advance and then maybe they ran out of fast passes and all of those things. Now it's basically going to be the Hunger Games at
It
7
is.
a.m., everybody trying to get all their fast passes. So that's my biggest concern is there's no real proof of concept here of how it's going to work.
Taken away from the moment.
It's taking away from what you used to have included in your Disney park
Yeah,
day.
people are going to be
It
stumbling
was
around.
free, and now it won't be.
It also
So
takes away
that's-
from trip planning.
It does.
You know, the trip planning is part of the fun of a Disney vacation.
It's
I go
here's
back
on the
far enough that
spreadsheet.
you
over
just
here,
bought your
7
pass
a.m.
and you waited in line. So I think to myself, boy, did I have it lucky. There were things that I had to wait in line for, and if you wanted to do it bad enough, you waited in line. Now, if you want to do it bad enough, you pay for it.
What's your recollection of the longest line you've ever been in?
It was the 1930 World's Fair, I think.
They introduced Wheaties.
You've seen that thing that made movies that spun around?
The longest line ever in Walt Disney World was 20,000 Leagues Beneath the Sea.
You waited
Because
for
like
that?
10 people could get on at a time.
Yep.
And you sat in that damp, sweaty submarine, and the windows fogged up and you couldn't see nothing. And you thought,
Fake
I
It was
waited-
so claustrophobic.
I waited 2 hours,
Yes.
and I spent my entire time trying to wipe the window off.
Did
that
you
was
really
like
wait 2 hours?
Yeah, it was like a 2-hour line.
It's a very long
But nothing else was. I mean, the Haunted Mansion, you had to wait. But it was like, even at the longest, you waited 15 or 20 minutes. That's when I was coming in the 70s. But
Way back.
20,000 Leagues, it's 50
But I
years.
think that-
I came here
Oh my
50 years
gosh,
ago.
you were a child. You were a
was
child. You know
12.
what kills me though? The
In
waiting in
utero.
the line is part of the experience. That's where you talk to your people, you meet other people 6 feet away, and I mean that's part of it for me.
No, see,
I mean,
now
and I just not that I'm judging people, but you like, oh my gosh, look what she's wearing. You know, it's
Right.
you talk and you
that
have a good
interaction
time.
with people in line, I would get the shingles. I would have to get creams and ointments and things
I
after.
have to tell people John's deaf.
Why isn't he talking to me?
Is he talking to me? No, I'm that person talking to.
I know. I'm doing
Giving
this.
you the backstory on that person,
Yeah.
or you know, I mean,
I'm with you.
that's part of it for me.
But I think to myself, look at what it's changing.
Yeah.
But I equated this to Broadway theater tickets or sporting events, and I got called elitist by some dipstick.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that. I'm sorry.
What, ass hat?
Well, I use dipstick. But I think if you want to go to any form of entertainment, you pay tier pricing. You know, not everybody gets to sit in the front 10 rows. There are people in the upper tier. And Disney, I think, has realized that they can separate this into a Broadway theater. There are people who are going to pay to be down front.
Or a plane.
Or
There
a
are people who
plane.
are going to pay for first class. And
And I think there are people who are still going to have to sit in the cheap seats because that's how they get to see Hamilton. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong, dipstick. I'm saying that that's how it works.
And I absolutely understand that. I absolutely understand there's a tier system.
But the problem is, one more thing. People do not get emotional about a theater seat.
Right, it's really different.
It is. It's really, really
Well, again,
different.
we talk
People
about-
are emotional about Disney.
right, because we talk about the change. We talk about how there was an even playing field and everybody paid the same ticket price and everyone had the opportunity to wait in the same lines. And now it seems to be there's this division of have and have nots, whether it's real or not, whether
And
it's
kids come out of the womb knowing Disney or Mickey Mouse. I don't know how they do it.
yeah.
So there's new generations being
They show
born on-
movies in
Oh,
there.
do they?
Wow.
That's where
Okay.
that thing spins and you see him jump up and down. But people are emotional about Disney World, and they want Disney World to be emotional about them. And that's where the disconnect
I
happens.
think that's a good point. We want Disney to be excited we're
friend.
coming.
I want
and-
Mickey to be excited to see
Well,
me. And
there
he
was a
usually
time-
is.
Yeah, fine.
There was a time that they were, and if they weren't, they at least acted like they were. Now, basically, they don't.
Or at least they're not playing
Pretending
their part really well.
I
No.
think it anymore.
No, they're not. They're not. And look, it doesn't give me any pleasure to say any of this stuff. Again, you know, we have a business that relies on Disney travel. It's never stopped me from.
Right.
But
So sad.
We have always had the opinion. We've always had the thing of you should do what you're comfortable with. and spend what you're comfortable with and do what you're comfortable. We've never talked anybody into spending more than they can afford. That's except for Teresa. That's never been our business model. It's about, can you come? Yes. What can you afford? Let's work with you. We'd never force an upsell on you.
And we look for people for ways for them to save money.
Right.
Right.
Always trying to save
Even though that
people
goes
money.
against our pocketbooks.
Right. So I
Well,
think,
again, we learned the lesson early on. What may go against your pocketbook in the short term
Right.
They come
really,
back.
really, really helps you in the long term.
Exactly. I have clients. You find them a better deal, you find them a better discount,
Do
and
it
they come
once.
back again.
Do it once.
You want to
and
make
they'll
them
always come back.
happy,
Right.
and that's so gratifying when a client comes back on the phone and text
And again,
in a letter,
in
and they're
all
happy.
fairness, we are a very, very small business in comparison to Disney. We are a privately held company versus Disney as a publicly held company. There's a lot of differences. And I get that. And I get that Disney's not an entitlement program. It's not a halfway house. They have to make money. And this is what they're putting forward as their way to do that. They're publicly traded, so that means they have to report their earnings. They have to report how they're doing once a year, or quarterly, I should say. So let's see. Let's see what happens. And while we're waiting to see what happens, check out Universal. Just give it a look-see. Give it a look. uofan.com is one of our websites for Universal Orlando. We have a Facebook group, UOFan Facebook group. No, we don't? I thought we did.
That's right.
Wait,
We
one
have
thing-
every other Facebook group.
We have other, okay. I thought we did. I apologize.
Thank God Denny's here.
Really?
nobody knows anything.
No.
They were both
I mean,
going.
unless
Rely on
Craig
that.
is starting it this afternoon. No. That's it.
Universal's got a lot to offer. Halloween Horror Nights, it's amazing. I mean,
I love Universal. I think it's
I
great.
do.
And you talked about the high-end resorts. We love Cabana Bay.
I do.
We
It's my
love that.
favorite
They're
hotel
sort
in
of
Orlando.
moderate resort. So
oh,
it
that's
has a
because
lot
you
to
like
offer.
Prel. Only place you can get
I
Prel
like
for your
the
hair.
60s, the mid-century.
Yeah, the
stuff.
whole mid-century
so
modern
great.
I
vibe
love it.
there
It's my
is
favorite
amazing.
hotel in
Yeah.
Orlando.
But
It
it's
is.
not Disney. It doesn't have
No,
the
it's
Disney
not.
IP. It doesn't have those things. Before we go, can I plug something?
Sure.
I want to say to folks, a couple weeks ago we mentioned that Kevin and I have a rental property in Cape May, New Jersey. We had an
Cape
incredible.
May was just, by Condé Nast Traveler, designated one of the 26 most beautiful cities in the United States.
Wow.
And as a result of just mentioning it for 10 minutes on one show, we have sold out most of our summer of 2022.
Wow.
So if you are interested
Dang.
in renting our place for 2022, contact me, John at dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. I'll put you in touch with our management company, and hopefully we'll have some stuff left. But
just
thank you to
mentioned
everybody.
it.
Okay, and while we're doing those plugs, people that have purchased rental properties, investment properties through moving to Orlando, we are helping promote those properties. We'll have a link in the show notes, but if you go to the Diz and we'll have a link in the show notes where you can see some of the homes that are available for rent, for short-term rental when you come down on vacation. It's a lot cheaper than staying at resorts. And some of these folks have done some incredible things with their homes. So we'll have a link to that.
That's cool.
I got a couple of Give Kids the World event announcements from Stephen Amos.
Sure.
You okay if I do those?
Sure.
He wants everybody to know that today is the last day to get raffle tickets for the lunch with Pat, Pete, and Madeline. So make sure you get
Pat?
your raffle tickets.
Pat Sajak.
Oh,
Pat no, not Pat.
Pat.
Pat Sajak, Pete Werner, and Madeline Werner. So make sure you get your raffle tickets today for that. They still have space at the convention and also at the party. If you didn't.
Oh, there is?
Yeah.
I thought the party was sold out.
He's telling me, according to this, there's still space at the party.
Okay.
And then the auction is going
I
to.
apparently don't know anything going on.
Just watch Denny's face.
Yeah.
Right? She's
Exclusive
going,
if we got it right or not. And then the auction opens Friday, this upcoming Friday at 2 p.m. That's ahead of the event. But Friday at 2 p.m., the auction will open virtually. And then you can start bidding on stuff.
And then we'll have we'll get a link. We'll get a link out there for everybody to download the app for the auction. And when I tell you this auction is going to have more than any auction we've ever done, the items that Stephen has gotten a hold of for this auction are going to blow your mind.
Are we using hand bid again?
No.
No.
Thank
No,
God.
this is all. I really have to give. I have to give such praise to Stephen and his team. They are handling everything.
I'm enjoying it too.
They're handling not just with the auction. They're handling.
Two.
They're handling everything with this event, and they've had to do. I mean, there's been a lot of changes as things go. Disney's changing up a lot of things, and they're trying to keep up. But they've been doing a tremendous job. Very excited about this. We'll be having our marathon show that Friday.
That's what you said, yeah, Friday.
And,
Is that right, Denny?
Yes.
Is that correct?
I can confirm.
Friday the 10th, we'll be doing our marathon show live from the
That
Diz
place.
Family Reunion
Do you
event.
want to announce the time for that? For the marathon
1
show?
p.m.
to 7 p.m.
1 p.m. to 7 p.m.
My
Yeah, we had to do it
gosh.
at 1 because of the lunch with Pat Sajak. We got to do that. I got to do that right before.
Oh, so you'll be coming right off
I
your
got to go right from that
lunch
to
with Pat and Mom.
Denny is doing fact checking as we go along.
Exactly.
Right.
Let me get
Wow.
notes.
Think of the money you're going to save on John and Teresa's crisis counseling this year.
Really?
Right.
Therapy's much less.
Really. No, we're looking forward to it. We're going to have a great time.
And we will all be there. We'll come up and say hi to us wherever we are. We're going to have a booth at the exhibition hall.
6 feet away.
Right.
Remember with John and I, do not make eye contact.
Silly. Your head should always be lower than mine.
Yes.
It usually is because you're 12 feet tall. But okay.
So,
Just like
Just because we're doing this, I just want to make a public service announcement. Florida's not doing well with our cases, and I've just read some information about local schools and stuff. You're going to need to be masked and maintain social distance.
well,
Required.
those are Disney's requirements
anyway,
indoors.
yep.
So it has nothing to do like
This is not a bubble.
when we do our marathon show, we are all going to be masked because I'm not able to do the show with 6 foot distance between us.
Craig's
So-
whole face will be
between
covered.
us. Great.
Just a public service announcement. If you're coming, and we hope you are, you have to follow the rules.
No hugs. That's going to be hard.
That's
What-
the only reason John's going.
Really.
Elbow
this year.
bumps.
I don't care.
All
for
right.
that.
We are. This went longer
we
than I
done?
thought it was going to. We are done. That is going to do it, folks, for this week's episode of our show. We hope you enjoyed it. We will be back with you again next Tuesday with another episode of the Diz Unplugged. Have a great week, everybody. And remember, stay out of the damn lakes. See you next week.